What
Yeah.
did you want the audience to feel, the emotions that you wanted the audience to experience?
The sense of helplessness, where we are as a society, where something as basic as this can get compromised,
Hmm.
can get questioned. It was never about sympathy, it was always about empathy. It is my first short film. 2019, I thought of studying, I thought of applying to a film school or trying to go and study film. I learned a lot in that 1 month.
So, hello everyone. Welcome to Round the Frame podcast, where we have deep, insightful conversations with filmmakers, industry guests, and basically people who are shaping the future of storytelling. Round the Frame also has competitions like short filmmaking competition, mobile filmmaking competition, where if you fit in anywhere, you can come and showcase your talent and connect with the right people. I am your host Molshri, and today we'll be talking to Chanakya, whose film Lu was part of Round the Frame Recommends and also won Best Writing. So, congratulations, Chanakya, and welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, Manshi. Thank you for having me here, and I'm excited for this
Oh,
conversation.
so you are basically a playwright, director, right? So, how is this your first short film, and how did you decide to get into filmmaking in the first place?
Yeah, it is my first short film. I have largely been doing theater for the past about 12 years. I think the sort of inclination towards film or cinematic medium happened around 2019 when I was actually I had made a play in 2018 where I had used a lot of video on stage,
Hmm.
as part of the play.
Hmm.
And as part of the video process, I got very interested in what a video can achieve. Sometimes that theater cannot, and
Hmm.
likewise, what theater can achieve that video cannot. My inclination towards exploring video started with that play, and then it sort of ended over there. It's not like I thought too much over there.
Hmm.
But at the back of my mind, I was like, I want to make something on film someday. Like I want to make a film at some point. But 2019, I thought of studying. I thought of applying to a film school or trying to go and study film and stuff like that.
Hmm.
But उस वक्त I started working on another project, so then that sort of idea kind of took a backseat.
Hmm.
2020, I thought I'll apply for a film school this time, but as we all know what happened,
Yes.
the pandemic came in, and those 2 years of the pandemic, actually, what happened is we couldn't do theater
Hmm.
because live shows weren't happening, at least for the first 1 year.
Hmm.
So I started really. So I took out. I had a DSLR. I did a small workshop, which was on a Zoom workshop on online workshop on filmmaking. I just started playing with my camera a little bit. I got excited. I knew how to edit and all, so I
Hmm.
just started playing with it because there was no way we were making live theater work at that time. So
Correct.
I got very curious with it, and then as I was doing it, I was like, "Oh no, I want to learn more. I don't know how to really like make a film."
Hmm.
So I reached out to some friends who are already filmmakers, and I asked them that, "What do I do? How do I go about it?" Everybody's like, "Arey, no need to go to a film school. You can make a film and everything." Uh, and then I realized that maybe it's true for some people, they don't need to go to a film school. But I don't know anything about how to make a film, so I should learn. I should learn it.
Hmm.
I tried putting together a film crew, but I started realizing that there were so many gaps I had in just the knowledge of making a film
Hmm.
that I realized that I would like to have a little better understanding of film before I kind of put money and get people on board and everything.
Hmm.
So 2022, I decided that I went to Prague Film School. Prague Film School
Sweet.
has a 1 month program
Hmm.
actually. They have a usual 1 year program, which is their main program, but they also have a 1 month program, which they call it like a summer program, but it's a very intensive program. So I applied for it. I went. मैं गया और वहां पे आप 1 मिनट की एक शॉट बनाते हो, 5 मिनट की एक शॉर्ट फिल्म बनाते हो. तो वो प्रोसेस तो बहुत छोटा होता है क्योंकि 1 महीने में आप कितना ही कर लोगे. बट उस 1 महीने में क्या होता है कि वो सारे क्लासेस आपको सिखाते हैं. हर एक क्लास का आपको एटलीस्ट 25-30 आवर्स का एक्सपोजर मिलता है, एडिटिंग का, सिनेमाटोग्राफी का, स्क्रीन राइटिंग का, एंड विद अ टीचर.
Hmm.
So I लर्नड अ लॉट in that 1 month. Just the process of how to how to just imagine a film, basically. Like you have an idea, but then how do you write it? After
Hmm.
you've written it, how do you break it down further for a production script? Once you've done that, how do you actually run a shoot? How do you actually manage a shoot? And those were things that they taught us in a very practical sense.
Hmm.
So I did that, and I had an idea, which the idea for the film Lou, which is there. I already had an idea because it was inspired also from an incident that had happened in my apartment where I used to stay.
Oh.
So it's not the same incident; it was something else. But then I took that as a starting point, and I thought I wanted to make a film. I knew that this idea was a film. I knew that I could achieve a lot of intimacy in terms of what the character was going through, uh, also in terms of just playing the character and staying closer to the character and what the character's mind is and what the character situation is and all of that. I always saw it as a film in my head. So when I came back from Prague Film School, I wrote down the screenplay of this. And my teacher in Prague Film School, who was a direction teacher, I sent it to him and I said, "Can you give me some feedback?" And he read the script and he said, "It's a good script, but you need to rewrite more and everything." So he helped me in the rewriting, and then he helped me also plan the visualization of it. Like, how do you actually go about it? That's when I realized that okay, I had a plan, I was prepared, I had my savings, so I just put that money into making of the film. I got a crew together and we shot. This is how it happened, and some really nice people came on board. My post production team, my even my production team, everyone. Just like होता है ना कि जब सारे एक अच्छी टीम इकट्ठा हो जाती है एक बार तो मजा आता है बनाने में. You know that this team has come together
Hmm.
because they also like the idea, they like the project, and everything came together. Both the actors are very dear friends of mine from
Oh.
theater. So it's just like it's actually friends coming together.
So you
They're
already
like,
have
"Acha,
support with them
yeah,
before.
yeah, I had a lot of support. I
Hmm.
had a lot of support. It's
Hmm.
just that support of the fact that I told them the story. Avani, who plays the house help in the film,
Hmm.
she just heard the story and she said, "I'm with you. I'm on. Batao Kaptan." It's just like you need for your first film you're making. You just need that, right? You just need people to come on board and trust you and help you
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
make it. And some really good people came on board, and it happened. So that's how the my journey happened with
So I
this.
have a
Yeah.
question regarding the writing, because in the film there is a lot of activities that the actor is doing, and a lot of moments of like activities and then moments of hold. So how was writing all that for you? Because it's not the usual dialogue or the conflict in a scene or whatever. So were you working with the actors on that, or were you working on your own during while writing?
Yeah, so the location is a funny story. So the thing is that uh, my parents used to live in that flat, and they were about to vacate that flat.
Hmm.
Uh, and strangely, I've been to that flat so many times, right? I don't live with my parents, so but I used to go to that flat. So when I was working on the film and I was looking for the location, I first thought we'll take our apartment, and I went to a lot of apartments. I went to two, three other apartments of friends only,
Hmm.
uh, high rises and stuff like that. But somehow what happened is one day I'd gone to my parents' house and I saw that the location outside, the toilet of for the workers,
Hmm.
everything in the apartment, I just felt like somehow this is the world of my film.
Hmm.
It's not the high rise world of my film. Uh, because usually in a high rise, you do usually find toilets are
Multiple
there.
colors.
Even some high rises you don't have multiple toilets,
Hmm.
but in most high rises now there are. And now in high rises you also have this something called as a servants room where people can go and access a
Hmm.
toilet, especially in Bangalore. You know, so I was like, the more I place it in a high rise, the more there are chances for her to use
Hmm.
a bathroom. But but I take it away and I put it in a much smaller apartment. Uh, The challenges will you.
Hmm. Right, right.
So I just did a recce and I told my parents were vacating that house and they were supposed to travel. So I said that can you just like leave the house for like 3 days? I want to shoot my film. And they were like, "Acha, theek hai, kar denge. We'll support you, whatever." And then they left. And of course, I made tweaks in the house. I added some things. I removed some things. So production design is some things are from the house only, but some stuff is added to
Hmm.
add a certain layer to the image. Uh, but yeah, that's how it came. Initially the society did not agree to us shooting
Took
the film and
permission.
all. Yeah,
Wow.
because we had to shoot outside also in the
Hmm.
apartment, in the building, and we also wanted to shoot in the common bathroom area. So the society manager was also like, it shouldn't show us in a bad light. I said, no, no, it's not showing you in a bad light. It's just showing the. We had to play it along. I mean, making a film part of the job is to like really like cook up stories and go and make the film. Like
Yes,
you
yes.
can't start being very honest about anything. I mean, of course, you can't be doing harm to anyone,
Hmm.
but you can just like you have to make stuff and go. So हो गया परमिशन मिल गया थोड़ा थोड़ा ऊपर नीचे हुआ बट फाइनली मिला हमें परमिशन and we did a so we had access to the location and we literally shot like we had almost like a 14-hour shoot because we didn't have that much budget so we had to finish the shoot within 2.5 days.
Oh, 14-hour shoot, like
Yeah.
one day, you're talking 2 days you shot.
Yeah, so we shot for like 28-30 hours. Yeah.
So, did you, because the character is also of the house help, did you talk to your house helps, or did you talk to other women in general to get their perspective? What was your was there any research of that kind?
Yeah, so one of the things I consciously so in all my plays I've always done research,
Hmm.
but one of the things I consciously did not want to do that over here. One was because um, first question would be like, okay, how many people do I need to?
Hmm.
Would meeting 3 people be enough?
Hmm.
Would meeting 15 be enough? Would meeting 100 be enough? Because there's never an end to it, right? And there is never a way to justify it. And I never wanted this to feel like, oh, the writer went on a research and wrote this.
Hmm.
Because then the moment you say that, then you have to answer far more ethical questions about research itself.
Hmm.
How many people did you research, right? So I did not want to go down that road. I said it's a fictional world,
Hmm.
but it doesn't mean that it's coming out of thin air. It is coming out of my observations.
Hmm.
So,
Hmm.
so one of the apartments where I used to stay earlier in Bangalore, what had happened was not the house help, but there was a housekeeping staff. The ones who do the cleaning of the lobby area,
Hmm.
the ones who are assigned to pick up the dry waste and the wet waste and everything, right? Apartment में एक staff होता है. So there were 3 or 4 women who once went to the society secretary, and I was standing there at that time. I was talking to the secretary about something else, and they all came and told the secretary that this is not fair. We only have one bathroom, and that we have to share it with the security guards. And the security guards are not keeping it clean. They had a problem with that, you know and they're largely treating it like a men's bathroom and they're not understanding that it's also being used by women. Okay. And the secretary was also a woman. So she was also listening to them. And the conversation went to the point where they said that आप हमारे लिए एक और bathroom बनवाइए society में. So she said अरे वो तो बड़ा मुश्किल है कर पाना ऐसे थोड़ी हो सकता है and all of that, you know. Uh, और वो जो argument हुआ conversation हुआ and I was like actually yeah women's का bathroom क्यों नहीं है उन लोग के लिए just for women who come to work. And then it kind of got to a point where our house help who used to come to work and it suddenly hit me and I was like, if you ever need to use the bathroom, you should don't even think twice. You should use it in our house. And she said that thank you so much for saying that, but I when I leave from my home, I don't drink water. I usually avoid drinking water throughout the day just because I don't have to go and use a bathroom somewhere.
That's terrible.
And that hit me hard. That hit me so hard forget about the fact that I said it that you can use it. ऐसा नहीं है कि वो इसकी वजह से कुछ बहुत बड़ी चीज उसने बोला कि आप ठीक है आप आपको आज समझ में आ रही है हमारा प्रॉब्लम
Hmm.
थैंक यू फॉर ओपनिंग दैट स्पेस बट अगर होगा तो ऑफ कोर्स आई विल लेट यू नो बट शी सेड द बिगर इशू इज दैट I have gotten used to not drinking water.
Hmm.
So I only now when I go home back, that's when I relieve myself, you know. And I was like, this can cause so many health problems.
Hmm.
This can cause like dehydration, UTI, and everything that comes with it, right? Now this is where I feel like I was like, अब मैं इस पे रिसर्च क्या करूंगा ये तो सच्चाई है सामने मेरी
Hmm.
अब इस पे रिसर्च करने का कोई मतलब ये तो फैक्ट है हो रहा है so I was like let me just make a film about this that's why the scene where she drinks water after she uses the bathroom that she's just standing
Ah.
quietly and that was a very important scene in the film. It was such an important scene because I wanted her to drink water. I wanted her to feel relieved and then she can have that first glass of water since the time she's left home to come
Hmm.
to work.
That
And
makes
that's
sense.
why that scene is very important. And that's also her scene of it's just her and the camera being a little away from her and just watching her really, really feeling a sense of relief of drinking water.
Hmm.
So so these incidents kind of these disconnected but sort of connected incidents sort of drove the plot for me. And then for me the bigger question was, of course there should be a women's toilet, there should be. But then the bigger other question was, why can't they use a toilet in the house where they go to work? It was a question. Many people disagree with. And I know people within my own, extended family or family, if you tell them, they will be like, no, it's not okay for us. And there are deep rooted reasons for it. There are deep rooted reasons of class, caste. There are so many things that come into picture in the Indian context.
Hmm.
और एक तरह से मुझे लगा कि अब मैं इन सारे सवालों को करने जाऊंगा तो डॉक्यूमेंट्री बनानी पड़ेगी फिर मुझे
Hmm.
क्योंकि फिर मुझे एक रियलिज्म में जाना पड़ेगा एक अलग तरीके का अप्रोच लेना पड़ेगा तो मैंने बोला हाउ डू अवॉइड मेकिंग अ डॉक्यूमेंट्री दैट्स व्हाई देन आई थॉट व्हाट इफ द पर्सन हुज हाउस शी गोज टू वर्क इन says all these bigger arguments that I was thinking about society, class, democracy, citizenship,
Hmm.
rights, everything. Because for me, it's the issue is not just access to a toilet. The issue is also much bigger about how
Hmm.
we see class problems in our society, right? So, uh, so for me, that character then became the reason to give the layer in the film,
Hmm.
the outer layer in the film, and then you saw this incident, the main plot of her wanting to have access to a restroom. So that's how the film came together. These things sort of, yeah, yeah.
So it's also interesting that after you end, um, the title comes and it ends at the note that the um, house owner is not happy. Then the next day also comes, and you have given her a chance at redemption somehow, the character. So that was also surprising and unexpected because I thought the film had finished there, but that also adds a layer of what you're trying to say. Um,
Yeah, yeah,
so
yeah,
did you want to end it on a positive note that there is scope for change or something like that?
yeah. So a lot of people have found. So it's interesting. A lot of people have felt that that scene is not required,
Hmm.
and there are a lot of people who have said that that scene is very important in the film for
Hmm.
them. Some people who have been pro that scene, the end scene, last scene after the title comes in,
Hmm.
they feel it doesn't put in the whole idea of villainizing someone. It's also to look at it from a point of view of how we are also caught up within a certain social structure.
Hmm.
It's also not a conscious playing of saying, "Arey, tu mera bathroom use nahi kar sakta." It's not that, but it's also in the within the class structure. Like, uh, I didn't want you to use it, but you've used it, so now I'm going to like, how do I navigate this space, right?
Hmm.
So for me, the intent was, and for a lot of people who did not like that scene at the end, for
Hmm.
them it was like it was a very strong ending. When
Hmm.
she sees her doing that, she goes home and the film should end there.
Hmm.
I said, and I completely understand both these school of thoughts, where they come from, why they feel that.
हम्म।
बिकॉज एक होता है जहां पे आप एंड करते हो एक सर्टन उस पे, दूसरा होता है जहां पे एक सर्टन रिडेम्पशन या चेंज की आप गुंजाइश रखते हो, यू नो।
हम्म।
मेरे लिए एक बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग चीज है जो बर्टोल्ट ब्रेक्ट, जो जर्मन थिएटर मेकर डायरेक्टर थे,
यस।
उनका एक कोट था अपनी किताब में जो मुझे बहुत अच्छा लगता है। वो बोल रहे थे that through our theater, through our art, through our writing, there is always a two choices. You can show the way things are
हम्म।
and the way things could be. So he used to say that in my theater, I always try to find a way to make the way things could be. Yeah.
हम्म।
So this whole idea of the way things could be,
हम्म।
and I was like, we shot that scene, and I told my editor Bhuvanesh कि फिल्म ना टाइटल पे एंड कर देना, मैं श्योर नहीं हूँ उस सीन के बारे में।
हम्म।
तो मेरा जो फर्स्ट कट आया था, फर्स्ट रफ कट आया था फिल्म का एडिट होके, तब वो सीन नहीं था।
हम्म।
तो फिर मैंने बोला कि एक बार वो सीन डाल के दे सकते हो मुझे, फिर आफ्टर द टाइटल।
हाँ।
एंड ही पुट दैट सीन आफ्टर द टाइटल एंड सडनली द फिल्म चेंज फॉर मी, एंड इट फेल्ट लाइक अ ट्विस्ट। हम जो बोलते हैं ना कहानी में ट्विस्ट होता है, एंड में शॉर्ट फिल्म
हम्म।
में ट्विस्ट होता है, हम कुछ लोग ट्विस्ट बोलते हैं, सम पीपल कॉल इट एज अ रियलाइजेशन in a film, that a character has a certain realization by the end of the film. That is also a twist, right? And I was like, what if the realization happens to her and not to the house help?
हम्म।
What if the realization is in the antagonist and not in the protagonist?
हम्म।
And that's when I thought that that scene made a lot of, and the way I had shot that scene was also not like, अरे आज से तुम बाथरूम यूज कर सकते हो. It was not supposed to be done like a happy cheerful scene. It
हम्म।
had to have the awkwardness. That's why she doesn't even look at her. They
हम्म।
both are like this. The blocking of the scene was done in such a way that they both are looking away. She says it also looking away. And she comes close, she puts the chammach in the sink
हम्म।
and she goes away. And this one doesn't even have a reaction to it. We
हम्म।
don't even know if she's feeling happy or sad or angry or whatever it is, you
करेक्ट।
know. So the fact that those that one feels the house owner feels maybe redemption by saying it,
हम्म।
it is not necessary that this one for her it was a redemption. So that I also feel is important for us to know. What we might hurt someone and say sorry, it may be redemption for us. It
हम्म।
may not be redemption for them.
सॉरी हम अपने आप
हमारे
के
लिए
लिए
शायद
बोल रहे हैं,
redemption,
हाँ।
हाँ हम अपने लिए बोल रहे हैं, वो हम
हम्म।
उनके लिए नहीं बोल रहे हैं।
हम्म।
क्योंकि उनको जो हर्ट हुआ या उनको जिस चीज का बुरा लगा या उनको जब तक वो चीज रिजॉल्व होगी उनके लिए, शायद वो समय लग सकता है। वो मेरे सॉरी होने पे निर्भर ही नहीं है कभी
हम्म।
कभी। तो
हम्म।
मुझे लगा वो बहुत जरूरी था मेरे फिल्म को एंड करने के लिए, कि उसको लगना चाहिए कि मैंने मैं रिडेम्पशन कर दिया, बट द हाउस हेल्प्स डजंट रिएक्ट टू इट,
हाँ। राइट।
बिकॉज आई वांटेड हर्ट, एंड दैट्स व्हाई द फिल्म एंड्स ऑन द हाउस हेल्प, इट डजंट एंड ऑन द हाउस ओनर. I wanted it to end on her, and that's why it ends also with sounds of the vessels. It goes from being very gentle to being a little more clangy. Clang,
हम्म।
clang, clang. The sound of the vessel kind of is what the sort of plays
हाँ।
along as the title, as the credits
हम्म।
roll. So yeah, these were some of the choices, and again, choices were made in collaboration with actors, with the editors, and everything.
इस फिल्म पे कैसे उनके साथ आपने रिहर्स किया, वर्कशॉप किया, व्हाट वाज उनके साथ प्रोसेस?
आ, हाँ, रिहर्स तो हमने किया। हमने शूट के 3 दिन पहले एक्चुअली हम लोकेशन हमारे पास था पहले से।
हम्म।
तो हम क्या करते थे कि मैं आई यूज्ड टू गेट आई हैड माय सीन शॉट एंड ब्लॉकिंग शॉर्ट लिस्ट एवरीथिंग रेडी।
हम्म।
हम किस स्पेस में कौन से शॉट्स ले रहे हैं वो हमारे पास पहले से फिक्स था।
हम्म।
तो आई जस्ट गॉट द एक्टर्स एंड गॉट देम फेमिलियराइज्ड विद द स्पेस.
हम्म।
दैट्स व्हाट आई डिड. आई सेड इट शुड नेवर फील लाइक यू आर इन अ सेट.
हम्म।
इट शुड फील लाइक यू आर इन योर हाउस. So especially with Avani, who plays the house help, I said you just walk around in the house. You
हम्म।
just do something in the house. Maybe you take water, you clean something. You just do it 2-3 बार, ताकि एकदम आर्टिफिशियल ना लगे उस दिन.
हम्म।
ऐसा ही लगना चाहिए कि आपको खुद नहीं पता है कि मैं इस रूम से यहाँ जाऊंगी तो क्या आ जाएगा. तुम्हें आपको सब कुछ पता होना चाहिए. इस घर के बारे में। कहाँ पे सोफा है, कहाँ पे कुर्सी है, दरवाजा कैसे खुलता है, चप्पल कहाँ रखा जाता है, चाबी कहाँ रखी जाती है, ये सब कुछ पता है। पूरा अपार्टमेंट का भी हमने चक्कर लगाया
हम्म।
कि आपको पता होना चाहिए, क्योंकि यू हैव टू बी सर्टन व्हेन यू स्टेप आउट ऑफ द हाउस, यू हैव टू बी वेरी सर्टन कि यू विल गो फ्रॉम ईयर टू ईयर.
हम्म।
So we did those kind of rehearsals with her.
राइट।
Even the empty plot where she goes in the
हम्म।
film outside, even that is something, the space that she knew before.
हम्म। आई थिंक
So we did rehearsals of that. Yeah,
एक्सेस टू लोकेशन से बहुत फायदा हुआ आपको।
बहुत फायदा होता है, बहुत फायदा होता है। और वो ही रिहर्सल की, और हमने सीन की भी रिहर्सल्स की।
हम्म।
हमने कुछ कुछ सीन की बेसिक ब्लॉकिंग की, हमने कुछ कुछ सीन्स के बेसिक लाइंस के रिहर्सल किए हमने दोनों एक्टर्स के साथ।
हम्म।
और हमने एक कॉमन लैंग्वेज फिक्स कर दिया था वोकैबलरी का,
हम्म।
कि शूट, क्योंकि मुझे पता था कि शूट बहुत ही इंटेंस होने वाला है और हमारे पास समय बहुत कम था।
हम्म।
तो हमने एक बेसिक वोकैबलरी रखा था अबाउट कम्युनिकेशन, वेयर आई वुड जस्ट, वेर एवर आई वॉन्टेड intensity to be more, I would just tell her in a specific way that I
हम्म।
want. So something I speak about is tension level. I always feel that every scene has a tension level. So we would keep a tension level कि ये 0 to 10 में टेंशन लेवल कहाँ है इसका, ये
हम्म।
क्या एक्सट्रीम टेंशन लेवल है. So that's how I communicated with my actors. I would just say that let's keep the tension level a little, अगर 5 पे हो तो 7 पे ले जाओ, बस उतना ही
हम्म।
बोलता था. And then it would be very interesting because I knew the actors knew me. So
हम्म।
वो वो मुश्किल नहीं था सेटअप करना, कि हम दोनों के बीच, वो हम लोगों के बीच वो कैमराडरी या रैपो कैसे सेट हो,
हम्म।
वो सेट हो गया था. The camaraderie and the rapport was all sort of, settled between us.
हम्म।
But yes, the rehearsal helped primarily for them to get used to the space.
हम्म।
Actually, now when not so much about acting, but it becoming more comfortable with the space. Yeah.
And the house owner also, matlab, because you're talking about tension, so a lot of tension was coming because उसके डायलॉग्स पे हम उसको काम करते हुए देख रहे हैं, हेल्प को, एंड इट्स जस्ट लाइक वो जो हिपोक्रेसी और वो जो डिस्टेंस है बिटवीन व्हाट शी इज सेइंग, एंड शी इज सेइंग इट वेरी स्वीटली, जो वो समझा रही है, बट इट्स जस्ट लाइक सो बैंग ऑन. या.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Especially one dialogue, we wanted her to smile because a student says something funny, and we just wanted her to smile about it. होता है ना क्लास में, अगर आप कोई क्लास पढ़ा रहे हो तो स्टूडेंट ने कुछ इंटरेस्टिंग बोल दिया तो आप भी हंस पड़ते हो एज अ टीचर. तो इट वाज जस्ट दैट, बट शी वेरी कैजुअली सेज इट. Okay, in your homework, don't just write anything that's in the textbook. Okay, take examples from real life. Okay, she says that, but she says it in such a way that you feel like it's said in such a light way that it's just a teacher doing her job. She's not like taking it in a very heavy manner, you know.
Right.
So yeah, yeah,
So you also
yeah.
said that going to the film school also helped you define क्या visual language होनी चाहिए. तो how did you work that out with? Did you collaborate with your DP on that? या कैसे decide किया आपने?
A great question. Actually, the DP and I worked for almost 10 days before the shoot. सो हमारा प्री प्रोडक्शन करीबन 12-13 दिन चला शूट के
Oh.
पहले. क्योंकि क्या हुआ था कि लोकेशन मिलने के बाद, लोकेशन मिलने से पहले हमने शॉर्टलिस्ट बना के रखा था सारा, और विजुअल लैंग्वेज, और तो मैंने और मेरे डीपी ने फिल्में देखी जो हम दोनों को लग रहा था कि विजुअल लैंग्वेज या इसका कलर या इसका टोन उस फिल्म के नजदीक है. सो फॉर एग्जांपल असगर फरादी की फिल्म अ सेपरेशन, जो फिल्म है, उस फिल्म का जो जो टोनल क्वालिटी है, वो जो घर में सेट है, जो इतनी डोमेस्टिक कहानी है वो सेपरेशन, वो उसका जो टोन था वो हम दोनों को बहुत अच्छा लगा था. And then he would also talk about some other films. I would talk about some other films. So we started talking a lot about films. We never like took images from films as a reference, but we always spoke about what we liked in those films. And at one point, he also understood what I was saying. But of course, we had budget constraints, so we couldn't hire all kinds of lights that we wanted. But within the stuff that we could, we tried to find that visual language within that. सो एक तो विजुअल लैंग्वेज फिल्म देख देख के हमने डिस्कस किया कि इस फिल्म से किस फिल्म से ज्यादा नजदीक हमें लग रहा है स्टाइल. Then in the recce, our shortlist changed because we had a shortlist which was very different. But after we found the location, तो जब लोकेशन पे हमने 2 या 3 बार रेकी किया विथ माई एडी, तब हमने जाके बहुत सारे अलग अलग शॉट्स रीडिसाइड किए पूरे. तो तब जाके एक और शॉर्टलिस्ट बना हमारा. और वो शॉर्टलिस्ट बनने के बाद हम लोगों ने लाइटिंग प्लान और उस पे और 2 दिन लगाए. और फिर जाकर आई थिंक वी काइंड ऑफ हैड अ फोटो बोर्ड, नॉट अ स्टोरी बोर्ड. We had a photo board. So we had me and my AD standing as dummy actors, and we had every shot taken on a DSLR camera. So we always had a reference of shots with us available to shoot the film.
इससे
So
तो फास्ट हो गया होगा शूटिंग के टाइम पे प्रोसेस बिकॉज यू नो द एग्जैक्ट फ्रेम्स.
हाँ, बहुत फास्ट बिकॉज वी न्यू एग्जैक्टली हम किस एरिया में कितने कितने शॉट्स ले रहे हैं. सो
हम्म.
माई एडी who is also a DSM alumni, Shivam Vig, and we had 2 ADs. One of the ADs was Shivam, and another AD is Falguni. Falguni was primarily working with the actors, like just being with the actors, helping them with the makeup, setup, and everything, and ensuring that the actors had everything that they wanted. Because we didn't really have a typical film set in that sense where we had to just dedicate one room for the actors and just make sure that they were taken care of during the shoot. So, but the other AD Shivam who was there, we literally broke down our shots based on areas of the house. So जैसे ही हम एरिया पे थे हम बोलते थे कि हम सारे इस एरिया के सारे शॉट्स खत्म कर एक ही बार. So that way the pre-production of 10 to 12 days was really useful because it was great that we could actually we could get the best out of that, those 2 days or 2.5 days of shoot
तो यू वर
that we did.
कॉन्फिडेंट व्हाइल शूटिंग बेसिकली कि मुझे यही शॉट्स चाहिए इसके इससे ज्यादा नहीं.
Yeah. Yeah. Having a pre-production, having your shortlist ready is like a boon. And then we discovered things also. वो भी
हम्म.
बहुत कुछ हुआ. ऐसे बहुत सारे शॉट्स जो हमारे लिस्ट में ही नहीं थे.
हम्म.
वो जो शॉट है जहाँ पे कैमरा गोज फुल डच टिल्ट in the
हम्म.
dream sequence that she has, वो डच टिल्ट था ही नहीं हमारे शॉट में. पर वो when my DP was standing with the gimbal, he says that can we try something? I said, what do you have in mind? And I was already kind of worried because we only had 4 hours left.
हम्म.
So he said, let's just try this. I have an idea. And then we tried that. And I looked at the shot on the monitor and I was like, oh, I love it. Let's keep this. And that also got used in the final
हाँ,
cut,
दोनों के एक तो डोर का भी शॉट है और उनका भी शॉट है हेल्प कर.
Correct. So it was always to be a perspective shot. She's looking at the door and the door से camera उसकी तरफ जा रहा है.
हाँ हाँ.
So that was great. But one of the best things that my teacher told me when we were working on shortlist is that the important thing is to understand, is it a subjective perspective or is it a non-subjective perspective? Is it a perspective which is very wide shot or
हम्म.
is it a very closer perspective? सो वो डिसीजन हमने बहुत पहले ही ले लिया था कि कैमरा हमेशा कैरेक्टर के पास ही रहेगा,
हम्म.
कैरेक्टर से कभी दूर नहीं जाएगा. हम कभी भी इतना वाइड शॉट नहीं लेंगे कि कैरेक्टर पूरे बैकग्राउंड में अकेली लगे कहीं पे.
इंटरेस्टिंग.
हम हम थ्रू आउट द फिल्म मिड शॉट रहे हैं.
हम्म.
एट द मैक्स वी गॉन मीडियम वाइड.
हम्म.
एट द मैक्स मीडियम वाइड गए हम. उससे ज्यादा हम उतना वाइड नहीं गए कि जहां पे कैरेक्टर एकदम दूर हमसे लगे, कि जहाँ पे वो पर्सपेक्टिव पूरा नॉन सब्जेक्टिव हो जाता है. We
हम्म.
always wanted to be close. So the camera always remains literally at a mid shot with her everywhere. So you never feel like there is a camera. It had to always feel like it's her, it's with her.
हम्म.
Either when she moves, the camera would move. That was one of the things we had decided.
हाँ, right. When she enters, so there's a in the
Yeah.
first.
So only when she moves, then camera moves. Even when she drinks water,
हम्म.
the camera doesn't move. Only when she finishes drinking water and walks towards her, the camera begins to move.
हम्म.
So we found that language beforehand. So those things really help in terms of visual language. Yeah.
और एडिट भी फिर आपने खुद किया है? नो, you hired another editor, no?
Yeah, I had an editor. His name is Bhuvanesh Manivandan. He is an editor based in Chennai.
हम्म.
He's edited a very wonderful, beautiful film called Mithya, a Kannada film. which has
Huh.
been going to a lot of big festivals
Mm-hmm.
recently. It was at New York Indian Film Festival. It has gone all the to all the key festivals in India and abroad.
I heard.
And he also has edited a web series called Ekam. He's
Hmm.
edited a couple of Tamil short films and Kannada short films, and he was somebody who came on board and added a lot of value, even in the pre-production stages. Even in the pre-production, he sort of gave some interesting thoughts, and post-production, of course, edit he was there.
Mm-hmm.
So he edited the film.
So this is your
Yeah.
first time
So
working together? Uh, with
yeah, first time we worked together. Yeah.
Nice.
फर्स्ट टाइम वर्क टुगेदर एंड या सो ही वाज बेस्ड इन चेन्नई सो आजकल तो अब रिमोटली इतना काम होता है क्योंकि आप हार्ड डिस्क कुरियर से भेज सकते हो
Hmm.
वहां पे काम हो जाता है एंड देन द स्टफ कैन कम टू यू ऑन योर लैपटॉप एंड यू कैन ऑलवेज वॉच इट यू
So
नो
you worked remotely with him?
yeah because he the what had happened was that his studio was undergoing some kind of a renovation where he had to move to someone's house
Hmm.
and in that place he couldn't have had someone there throughout.
Hmm.
So at one point we thought we'll meet, but zarurat nahi padi. He would always send me the cut and we would discuss and we would do that. So uh, of course the ideal is to sit together and
Hmm.
look at it on a monitor.
Hmm.
And that's something I would like to do for my next film. But
Oh.
इस film में it worked. It worked pretty well because I also wanted the distance from my film. I was like, I've made the film, I've written it, I've directed it. Now I want a fresh pair of eyes to see it.
Hmm.
Let them also make the story out of it. You know?
So the
Yeah.
edit was happening there, but then फिर sound वगैरह जो आपने किया that happened in Bangalore.
Sound happened as part of the sound mixing happened in Bangalore.
Hmm.
A lot of ADR and dubbing happened in Bangalore, which was together. And for the sound mixing, I had gone to Tiruvananthapuram, Trivandrum. So there was a sound mixing and sound designer and mixer Anand Rag, who lives in Kerala, and he largely works in Malayalam cinema and
Okay.
also Kannada cinema. So he did the sound design and mix for the film.
Wow, your film like was
So yeah,
being made at multiple
yeah,
places.
it became like so केरला में उसका साउंड मिक्स हो रहा है यहाँ पे उसका चेन्नई में उसका एडिट हो रहा है और फिर उसका कलर ग्रेडिंग बॉम्बे में हुआ सो
Oh,
हाँ
okay.
so color grading happened in Bombay
And you
that
were
happened in Bombay.
overseeing, I guess, the whole post-production part of it. You were supervising.
Yeah. I was the one part of every process of post production. So sound design, I was there with him.
Hmm.
Then
I meant in the sense
color
that there
grading, I
was no
was
other producer figure. Basically, you were the.
no. In fact, I had spoken to a producer who produces a lot of independent films.
Hmm.
I had spoken to him about my film, and I said, "Do I need a producer?" He said that this is your first film.
Hmm.
Just make it the way you want. Don't get anybody else on right now. Don't get anybody else who's already has fixed ideas about what film should
Hmm.
be. अब पहली फिल्म है अपने हिसाब से बनाओ
Hmm.
कुछ गलत होगा तो अच्छी बात है तुम ही सीखोगे कुछ नया पर अपने हिसाब से बनाओ किसी और को मत डालो और वो मुझे लगता है सबसे बेस्ट एडवाइस
So that's so.
क्योंकि मुझे
Like, please complete. Na, sorry.
नहीं इट्स ओके क्योंकि मुझे लगता है कि वो अगर मैं किसी और को लेकर आता ना
Hmm.
तो बहुत सारे फिर चॉइसेस डिसीजंस को लेकर फिर एक अलग टाइप का कॉन्वर्सेशन स्टार्ट हो जाता यू
Hmm.
नो सो I was only part of the entire closing process, and I also had collaborators, the one who did color grading, the editor, everyone. They all contributed as equally as anybody else would. So there are so many times I planning to start pitching.
Hmm.
There is a short film that I was developing, but then what happened is that वो लिखते लिखते वो आइडिया इतना बड़ा हो गया शुरुआत शॉर्ट फिल्म की तरह हुई थी कि अब आई एम डेवलपिंग इट एज अ मिनी वेब सीरीज and
Oh.
I'm trying to see if I can pitch it like a 6, 7 episode series of
Hmm.
short 20, 25 minutes. And there is another short film that have been wanting to, an idea that I want to develop, which
Hmm.
I am trying to work on. So hopefully if I manage to write the script, the thing is with short films, funding is a bit of a challenge because you don't get funding so easily
Hmm.
for short films. So I'm also trying to find ways of seeing if there are some ways in which funding can be done for a short film.
Hmm.
Others, it will be a self-funded process. So I'm developing a mini web series idea. I'm developing a feature already,
Hmm.
and then there are ideas for another one more feature that I want to develop, work on, but उसपे थोड़ा research चल रहा है अभी.
अरे
तो
multiple
बेसिकली
projects
अभी
you have.
बहुत सारे.
हाँ.
हाँ, पर अभी अभी क्या है ना कि अभी सारी चीजें क्रिएशन स्टेज पे है. कुछ
हम्म.
भी कंप्लीट नहीं हुआ है, तो अभी हर एक चीज अलग अलग स्टेजेस में. कुछ चीज की राइटिंग स्टार्ट हो चुकी है, कुछ
हम्म.
चीज में रिसर्च बाकी है. तो बेसिकली पिछले एक साल में एक्चुअली मैं वही कर रहा था, और पैरेलली मैं पिच भी कर रहा था कुछ कुछ जगहों पे, just to kind of understand how pitching works,
हम्म.
what is it that's what are the trends going on. Not that you can write for trends, but just to understand how the industry is thinking. So
हम्म.
I was also in Bombay to kind of get a sense of that actually. Uh, but yeah, I my plan is to shoot another short film in November, by the end of November.
This
So,
November.
uh, yeah.
Oh,
So end of November. So I'm hoping to shoot it by end of November and actually do the entire post production by end of December and finish it off.
got it.
So
Got it. You're
yeah, so
seriously
that's my
soon
plan.
going into pre-production for that, basically.
Correct. So the scripting is done. I'm at a stage of trying to raise funds for it, but there are higher chances of not being able to find funding for short films. It's going to be very challenging.
Yeah,
So
that's
then
what
I
I was
think,
thinking. What
yeah,
are the places? Actually, depends on how much also you need because short films के लिए people usually have a certain idea कि इतने में
correct.
बन होंगे.
Correct. Yeah, like the top line budget that some people say that okay, you maybe sometimes if you have 10 lakhs, you can make a very good, you can make it in a very interesting way. You have time and equipment and crew, and you can pay people very well. But
Hmm.
then there are also like this short film that I Lou was made in 2.2 lakhs, 2.3 lakhs. Uh, so maybe I'll have to go back to that same budget if I'm not able to raise enough money.
Hmm.
But if I am able to raise money and I'm able to get a producer on board and a financier on board,
Hmm.
then maybe also have more time, have more resources. More money is not for people to make money. It's just so you have more time and more resources at hand to be able to shoot in a
Hmm.
little better way,
Hmm.
actually.
Hmm.
Um,
So
of course, there are many ways also, like I've been hearing, to shoot with iPhones, which is also becoming very cost effective nowadays. So that also is there. So I'll see. We'll figure out what's the best way to make the film. So yeah,
that's how we did our short film. We shot it on a phone. I also
iPhone.
did.
Oh,
Yeah,
great.
yeah, but
Oh,
it's
great. Yeah, it works. Yeah.
we adopted the format then that everything is based on screens, like phone screen, laptops,
Oh,
the
phone
screen
screens.
type of.
Ha,
So then that,
ha,
I think it
ha.
depends how you can adapt to that also.
Correct. Of course, you can find a way to adapt it to in a way like अभी भी वो 4 शॉर्ट फिल्म्स आई थी ना जो आईफोन पे की थी, जल तू जलाल तू एंड दो चार फिल्म आई थिंक प्रतीक वत्स अर्चना फड़के they all made these 4 short films
Hmm.
on iPhone, which was I think supported by Mami.
Hmm.
So yeah, and Apple. So they made these films on iPhone, and I mean, of course, they got very high-end iPhones, and I'm sure they added some additional
Lens
lenses and all.
also on that.
But
Correct.
but it's possible. It's possible to make these kind of films.
So did
Yeah.
you figure out the distribution for Lou? What?
Yeah. Actually, I went into conversations with 3 platforms.
Hmm.
Uh, uh, the thing I realized is that after a point, I realized that one of the platform's curation wasn't really great, so I didn't want my film to get lost amidst, like if you go to their landing page, you have like people just don't know what to watch. Like there's no curation. It's just films
Hmm.
being put on a website,
Hmm.
which I wasn't very keen to do that. I wasn't very keen to go that way because then it's like just putting a film and it will get lost amidst another 200 films. That's the problem is not that, but the problem is the way the film is placed, you know. The second was I was talking to another channel, and they had a tie-up in which you had to subscribe. You had to buy a subscription for their channel to watch the film. So I was a bit like, वो तो मेरे लिए तो मेरी शॉर्ट फिल्म है, अगर उसके लिए भी लोगों को सब्सक्राइब करना पड़े आपके चैनल के लिए, मतलब उनको 500 रुपए देने पड़ेंगे। और
Right.
वैसे कोई लोग शॉर्ट फिल्म्स देखते थोड़ी है,
Hmm.
मतलब nobody will buy a subscription for a short film channel. They will buy a subscription for an Amazon or a Netflix.
Hmm.
So I was a bit like, I was like, this also makes a barrier. Like I can't even tell people like my film is on this platform, and then when they go to click on it, they'll realize they have to buy
Hmm.
subscription. I found out there is one more where they have to pay like a small amount, like 25 rupees or 100 rupees, and then you can watch the film. Those things are there. But for now, I just have put it on Vimeo for anybody who wants to watch it. So I haven't really figured out a distribution platform for this.
Hmm.
Uh, it was nice to have these conversations, but I just felt like none of it felt right at this point.
Hmm.
But maybe going ahead, I've been listening, I've been hearing about some other interesting distribution platforms being there. So
Hmm.
I'm trying to figure out कि अगर वहीं वहां की बात हो सके, जिस तरह से और लोगों को पहुंच सके, और थोड़ा एटलीस्ट हमें मॉनेटरी थोड़ा अगर रिटर्न मिल सके बेस्ड ऑन व्यूज एक्सेट्रा, तो अच्छी बात होगी। But वो तो anyways that's secondary. I mean, you will never be able to. You never put the film to make money out of it. So you have to just hope that enough people will watch, and then if there is a pay per minute or a pay per view
Hmm. There is
profit
a
sharing, then you
revenue
will get
sharing
some money.
model mostly that people are practicing.
Yeah, yeah.
Correct. The film is very engaging, and I was personally like with engaged with the character's journey throughout. So I would definitely recommend कि सब जाके देखो. And we will also be waiting for your next short film. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, because it's
Yes,
a
thank you so much, Monshri. Yeah.
before we close, because we you were talking about how you got some feedback from people about the last scene. I wanted to know because as an artist, I am always thinking ki how am I supposed to take criticism or feedback in general. So, do you have any thoughts on that you want to share?
Yeah, I think it's very important li- to gather feedback from different kinds of people and different kinds of audiences.
Hmm.
Sometimes आता होता है कि हम थोड़े यूज हो जाते हैं कि हम सिर्फ फिल्म मेकर्स का फीडबैक सीरियसली लेंगे और बाकी लोग का नहीं लेंगे, या सिर्फ हम सिर्फ आर्टिस्ट का फीडबैक सीरियसली लेंगे।
Hmm.
पर मुझे लगता है कि हमें हर किसी का फीडबैक एटलीस्ट सुनना तो चाहिए, भले हम ले ना ले फीडबैक उसका। एक होता है फीडबैक सुनना या क्रिटिसिज्म सुनना, दूसरा होता है उसमें से कितना क्या हम अप्लाई कर सकते हैं अपने काम में। आई फील आई फील यू you need to first have clarity about what is it that you wanted to,
Hmm.
that you should have some clarity. Definitely it may change in the process,
Hmm.
but the change should happen from you, not by someone else telling you to change.
Hmm.
So the first step is to at least, and this I'm talking about the film is made. Like if I'm at a scripting level, then I'm sure I get a lot of feedback which may be very useful, which I wouldn't have ever thought.
Hmm.
But after the film is made, and when you get feedback on the film, or if you're sharing the first cut of the film with people to get feedback before you make a final cut,
Hmm.
you should definitely know what you are wanting to make, because then you can filter that feedback based on, is it adding something new to what you already want to add in your film or want to show in your film,
Hmm.
or is it something that is just another point of view but does not necessarily need to come in your film. It is just another point of view of someone. So some people who said कि आपका लास्ट सीन होना जरूरी बिल्कुल नहीं है फिल्म में, वो आपकी फिल्म का इंटेंशन उल्टा कर रहा है, या फिर वो जरूरी नहीं है उस फिल्म में, फिल्म खत्म हो जानी चाहिए जहाँ पे टाइटल आता है। मुझे लगता है वो बहुत वैलिड पॉइंट है उनका, वो जिस तरह से वो बता रहे हैं उस पॉइंट।
Hmm.
पर क्या मैं अपनी फिल्म में वो चाहता हूँ? तो मैं तो वहां पे उसको फिल्टर कर सकता हूँ, उस बात को मैं बोलता हूँ कि हाँ, अग्री विथ यू, आई अंडरस्टैंड व्हाट यू आर सेइंग,
Hmm.
बट मेरी फिल्म में मुझे मुझे ये मेरा इंटेंट थोड़ा अलग है इसको लेकर। बट यही बात जैसे अगर आपको कोई बोले कि ये शॉट जो है वो इससे ऐसा ऐसा लग रहा है हमें, तब शायद हो सकता है कि ओ वाओ, दिस व्हाट दिस पर्सन इज सेइंग एक्चुअली हेल्पिंग
हम्म
इन कम्युनिकेटिंग माय फिल्म इन अ बेटर वे
हम्म
actually, you know. Then I think I should take that feedback and see, oh wow, by adding this I can change so much. There's one cut in the film. After the final cut was done, my teacher saw the film. He got a bit delayed in watching the final cut, and
हम्म
I tried to follow up, and he was very busy because he was shooting his own film. But
हम्म
finally, he watched my film and he immediately sent me a voice note. He said, "There is one cut I want you to really reconsider in your film. प्लीज देखो प्लीज देखो, अगर इससे तुम्हारी फिल्म बहुत बदल जाएगी।" तो तब तक मैं भी बहुत क्लियर था मेरी फिल्म को लेकर, नहीं, मुझे कुछ नहीं बदलना है।
हम्म
और फिर मैंने अपने एडिटर को बोला कि एक बार वो कट जो बता रहे हैं वो थोड़ा डाल के देखते हैं क्या
हम्म
होता है। और वो कट डाला, मैंने देखा और मुझे लगा यस, it added something new to my film. It did not take away anything. It just added something new to my film. And then I said, yes, I'll take this feedback. There are other things also my teacher said. I didn't take everything. But
हम्म
there's one thing that he mentioned, which I made my editor do. And then I went back and I saw it, and I thought that that was a good suggestion.
हम्म
It's a very small thing, but it just changes the way we see the character completely. सो आई वुड से फीडबैक को वैसे देखा जा सकता है कि
हम्म
पहले आपको पता होना चाहिए कि आप अपनी फिल्म में क्या करना चाहते हैं, कि आप क्या कहना चाहते हैं, और उसके बाद जो फीडबैक आ रहा है क्या वो उसको एनहांस कर रहा है या सिर्फ उसका बस एक अलग पहलू दिखा रहा है, तो
हम्म
वो डिसीजन हम अपने हिसाब से ले सकते हैं।
राइट
तो yeah,
because I'm
yeah,
sure there will be a lot of filmmakers who are aspiring filmmakers or making their first short films, and you are literally putting your work out there for people's
yeah,
opinions and feedback. So I think it is
yeah.
important to know in your head. All in all, अगर देखा जाए आपका लू बनाने का experience from start to end, तो is there any takeaway that you have, any realization, discovery, or any lesson, कुछ भी?
Yeah, I mean, एक फिल्म बनाने के बाद तो मतलब टू से दैट डिस्कवरी इज टू बिग अ वर्ड, बट मैं डेफिनेटली बोलूंगा कि बहुत बड़ा टेक अवे जो मुझे लगा कि आई थिंक फिल्म मेकिंग इज सो मच अबाउट प्लानिंग। आई थिंक माई बिगेस्ट लर्निंग वॉज to be able to spend time on what you want to do, because film takes time, film takes effort, film takes money and everything, like if you want to make it in the right way.
Hmm.
And it's not about expensive equipments and stuff like that, but just if you want to make a meaningful film, uh, it takes a lot of time. So take your time, don't rush into things, even if it's a short film, because once you make it, it's there. Very few people get the option to go and reshoot it. Like reshooting is also a lot of cost. So
Hmm.
I always see it, if I were to compare it to my theater experience, हम जब थिएटर करते थे तो हम बोलते थे कि हाँ ये नाटक डेवलप होता रहेगा, होता जाएगा और बेहतर होता जाएगा विद शोज।
Hmm.
फिल्म में ये होता है कि आप वो बार बार नहीं कर सकते, आपने एक बार बना दिया तो वो रिकॉर्डेड इन टाइम एंड स्पेस हो चुका है। Is a certain recording that has happened in a particular time, because the play keeps happening every time.
हाँ
And
हाँ.
in a play also, you can't change everything, but you still have the possibility to add new things, remove few things with shows, you know.
Hmm.
So I learned, at least I can talk about my learnings, to be supremely well planned. And if you feel you need to learn filmmaking to be more confident, please go learn it. I don't subscribe to this idea that film schools uh, film schools are not important.
Hmm.
Whatever film school works for you, whether you want to do a full-time course, whether you want to do a shorter course, whichever course can teach it to you in the right way and the best way possible.
Hmm.
If not, if you are a person who learns very well on the job, depends on the kind of person you are, then do that. Maybe like assist people and then learn it on the job and then make it. Whatever works for you. But I do think film is as much as artistic, it's also technical media. And you may not know everything about everything department, but you should know the basics about every aspect of filmmaking.
Hmm.
That's my biggest takeaway. And it was very helpful for me for having learned that. I still need to learn a lot more, but this much helped me a lot. And my third biggest takeaway is, for your first film, second film, or if you're making a first film, or if you're just making your second film, you're starting out. really, really count on your friends. Get your friends together. Make it with your friends, and it can still have the professional aspect to it, even if there are friends. But I think your friends will really stand by you. People who really are interested in your creative journey. So count on people who you can count on.
Hmm.
And they will also be able to add a lot of value to that process. So, and yeah, make something that really you want to make. Because short films, the best part about short films is that you never make it to be able to have the commercial pressure of selling it or making a lot of money out of it.
हाँ,
So you can always, I think if that pressure is not there, then why not make something that you truly want to make
ये तो
without
काफी
worrying about हाँ कि ये बिकेगा कि नहीं, ये कोई खरीदेगा कि नहीं, ये इसका क्या, मतलब I think make what you want to make, and I think that's the best part about a short film.
हम्म
Uh, so many seasoned filmmakers are coming back to short films because I think they're realizing the freedom you get with a short film
हम्म
to express what you want to do. So yeah, these are my takeaways and maybe big learnings to share. Yeah.
and anything like any message that you want to give to upcoming filmmakers?
Uh, Message. I'm only an upcoming filmmaker, so I don't know if I can. I'm an aspiring filmmaker, but maybe I can. Maybe I can share that. Um, Sometimes, yes, you have to watch a lot of films to be able to understand film language and to be more film literate in that sense.
Hmm.
But sometimes it's also important to not draw everything only from film. It's also important to draw things from life, from literature, from
Hmm.
poetry, from painting. So I feel
Hmm.
just to get caught up by saying that films देख के ही film बना सकते हो, वो मुझे थोड़ा लिमिटिंग लगता है. और
Hmm.
मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि मेरा थिएटर बैकग्राउंड है या राइटिंग बैकग्राउंड है या प्ले राइटिंग बैकग्राउंड है, ये सारी चीजें मुझे इन्फॉर्म करती है. So I
Hmm.
feel sometimes it's good to also look outside of films to make a film.
Hmm.
So that's something I can, uh, my small two bits of maybe advice, so to speak. Yeah.
That will be my
For
takeaway. I think because we get
yeah.
so caught up in films ना, तो ये दूसरे avenues बंद हो जाते हैं. मतलब plays
हाँ,
वगैरह.
और मुझे कभी कभी लगता है कि हाँ बिल्कुल, और लाइफ को देखना भूल जाते हैं. कभी कभी मुझे लगता है लाइफ लाइफ में भी कितना कुछ अगर हम ऑब्जर्व करने लगे तो वहां पे भी कितना कुछ इंटरेस्टिंग हो रहा है. तो कभी कभी फिल्मों से ही फिल्म बनती है ये जरूरी नहीं है. हाँ, फिल्में देख के हमें पता चलता है कि फिल्में कैसे बनाई जाती है, फिल्म लैंग्वेज क्या होती है.
Hmm.
बट इंस्पिरेशन सिर्फ वहां तक ही सीमित रह जाए तो मुझे थोड़ा वो लिमिटिंग लगता है.
Right, because you found your inspiration literally in
Yeah,
life.
yeah, in surroundings, and then that took shape for film.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yes.
so
Great. That is
yeah.
very inspiring, Chanakya. Thank you for sharing your thoughts, your journey, your process with us. I hope we get to see more of your work soon. And anyone who's listening to this, you know what to do. You need to watch Lou by Chanakya Vyas. It's on Vimeo, and we'll share the link wherever we post the podcast. And thank you, Chanakya, for coming.
Thank you so much. It was a lovely conversation. It also took me back into the memory of making the film. It was made about 1.5 years ago, so it
Oh.
kind of brought back some very nice days to go back and some lovely questions that you had prepared and you put across. So thank you for this interview. It's always nice to look back at your work through an
Hmm.
interview after a little while because तब तक काफी चीजें आप रिफ्लेक्टिवली अलग से देखते हो.
Hmm.
So I'm very thankful that we could chat, and I'm glad we could do this. So, and I hope more people get to watch the film.
Yes.
Thank you for this. Yeah.
Great to know that. Thank you.